Story number 1. Echoes of Suburban Shadows. 2001, Suburban, Texas. I remember it like it was yesterday, even though years have passed since that night. My best friend, Sarah, and I had been exploring the U.S. as part of our summer trip. Alongside us were Michael, a budding journalist, and Dr. Emily Roberts, a historian with a keen interest in Texas's past. After a wild party one Halloween night, Sarah and I, giddy with the energy of youth, decided to take a shortcut through the woods back to our campsite. As we walked, our conversations mixed with laughter echoed through the silence until, without warning, a wild creature darted across our path, its eyes glinting menacingly in the moonlight. Startled, we panicked and ran blindly through the thick woods, scraping our skin on thorny bushes and tripping over unseen obstacles. As the adrenaline ebbed, we found ourselves disoriented and lost. That's when we stumbled upon it, an old, abandoned university building, looming like a sentinel in the night. The sight of it gave me an uneasy feeling, but with darkness around us and injuries that needed attention, it seemed like our only option. Dr. Roberts, who had been researching old buildings in Texas, recognized it immediately. "This is the old Hayward University," she whispered, her voice filled with awe. Michael, sensing a story, eagerly started taking notes. That night, as we settled in, the winds picked up, and the distant cries of wolves sent shivers down our spines. But it wasn't nature that haunted us. Shadows danced across the walls, and whispers filled the air. Sarah clutched my arm as translucent figures materialized, reminding us that it was Halloween, the night when the veil between the living and the dead is thinnest. None of us slept that night. At dawn, we packed up and left in haste, but the events of that evening stayed with us. Michael, sensing more to the story, decided to dig deeper. Dr. Roberts, too, was intrigued. They unearthed an old newspaper article that detailed a tragic accident near the university in the early 1900s where a bus full of students had crashed, leaving no survivors. The pieces began to fall into place. Over the years, there had been numerous reports of ghostly apparitions near the crash site, believed to be the spirits of those students, forever trapped in their last moments. Their presence had caused many accidents, as they tried to communicate or perhaps warn the living. I often wonder about that night and the restless souls we encountered. Their story, brought to light by Michael's articles and Dr. Roberts' research, serves as a chilling reminder of the thin line between our world and the one beyond. So, every Halloween, as I light a candle in their memory, I am reminded of that haunted night in suburban Texas, where the past reached out, desperate to be remembered. Story number 2. Whispers of Woodland Hallows. 2002, Suburban, Texas. The memory of that night still clings to me, refusing to fade even after all these years. It was a night that I, along with my friends Anna and Clara, will never forget. After the Halloween bash at our university, we decided to take the scenic route back to our dorms, avoiding the usual throng of students. We laughed and recounted tales of the night, our voices loud against the still backdrop of the woods. Then, suddenly, a wild creature, eyes gleaming ominously in the dim light, darted out in front of us. Terrified, we turned and ran, finding ourselves plunging deeper and deeper into the thick of the woods. By the time our panicked breaths slowed, we realized we had no idea where we were. Anna pointed out a structure in the distance, its silhouette eerily familiar. The old Baylor University Annex. It had been abandoned for years, a relic of the past and fodder for countless ghost stories. But at that moment, it was our only refuge. As we settled in for the night, injuries tended to. Clara, who was studying journalism, recalled an old news article about a tragic accident nearby. A school bus, filled with young students, had met a grim end many years ago, and rumors were that the souls of the departed haunted the area. The chilling winds that night seemed to carry whispers with them. Flickering shapes made us question our sanity, and soon, the legends became our reality. Ethereal figures moved past us, their presence a grim reminder of the Halloween night's supernatural strength. Morning couldn't come soon enough. As the sun's first rays pierced the darkness, we gathered our belongings and fled, vowing never to return. But our story didn't end there. Word of our experience spread like wildfire across campus. Among those interested was Dr. Harrison, a parapsychologist, always in search of the inexplicable. Together with Clara, they started an investigation. What they uncovered was bone-chilling. It turned out that on every Halloween since the bus tragedy, there had been reports of spectral figures appearing near the old Baylor Annex. Many believed these were the restless souls of the children, attempting to reach out or perhaps save others from sharing their fate. To this day, when the veil between our world and the next is thin, I light a candle, hoping it guides those lost souls to rest. That night in 2002 is a haunting reminder of the past's grip on the present, forever etched in my memory. Story number 3. The Shadows of Laurel Heights. 2003, suburban Los Angeles. I still shiver when I think of that night, the memories as vivid as if they had occurred just yesterday. It was supposed to be a night of fun and celebration after our school's annual Halloween bash. My friends, Zoe, Mandy, Lily, and I were on our way home, the euphoria of the night making us feel invincible. But, as we were walking along the road, reminiscing about the party, a swift shadow, which turned out to be a wild animal, darted right in front of us. Startled, we turned and ran into the woods, our screams muffled by the rustling of leaves. When we finally stopped, bruises and cuts adorning our skin, we found ourselves lost, surrounded by the thick foliage. In the distance, we could make out the faint silhouette of a building. An old university structure, part of the once-renowned Laurel Heights University. Despite the rumors about its haunting past, we felt it was safer to camp there than risk wandering aimlessly in the woods. As darkness deepened, strange things began to happen. Chilled drafts, disembodied whispers, and translucent figures darted around, their mournful eyes staring at us. It was as if they were reminding us that on Halloween, the line between the living and the dead blurs. Sleep eluded us that night. With every rustle and creak, our imaginations painted pictures more horrifying than the last. As dawn broke, we packed our things and left the remnants of Laurel Heights, vowing never to return. Our harrowing experience reached the ears of Sam Mitchell, an investigative journalist, and Dr. Laura Ramirez, a well-known paranormal researcher. Intrigued, they began to unravel the mystery of the haunted university. Through old records and eyewitness accounts, they pieced together a tragic tale, a devastating fire decades ago, which had claimed the lives of many students. Their spirits, it was believed, still roamed the grounds, trapped in their final moments, causing accidents and sightings in their attempts to reach out to the living. The news of our ordeal and the subsequent revelations was all over the media. The tragic past of Laurel Heights and our chilling experience became the talk of the town. Today, as I drive past the road leading to the university ruins, I always utter a silent prayer, hoping that those restless souls find peace. That night in 2003 changed our lives, a stark reminder of how close the past can linger, especially on a Halloween night. Story number 4. Haunting Memories of Golden Gate Shadows. 2004, a suburb of San Francisco. The city lights of San Francisco shimmered in the distance as my friend Nicole and I made our way from a Halloween party. Our conversations, filled with the thrill of our recent adventures, were abruptly interrupted when a feral creature suddenly bolted onto the path. We screamed and ran, our frantic steps taking us deeper into the woods and further away from the familiar city lights. Bruised and disoriented, we stumbled upon a crumbling structure, the old remnants of Pacific Heights University. Its history was lost to most, but the cold aura surrounding it was unmistakable. With no other options and the night's chill setting in, we decided to seek shelter within its walls. As we settled down, the stillness was broken by sounds that had no place in an abandoned building. Soft footsteps, distant murmurs, and shadows that flitted just at the edge of our vision. The eerie atmosphere intensified as the night wore on. It felt like we were being watched, judged even, by unseen eyes. Sleep was an elusive dream that night. Every time we tried, a new sound or sight would jerk us awake, cold sweat drenching our brows. By dawn, we were out of that godforsaken place. But the story didn't end there. A local journalist named Brian got wind of our tale and teamed up with Professor Elena Martinez, an expert in local folklore and history. Their investigations unearthed a dark tale. Pacific Heights University, in its heyday, had been a thriving institution. However, a tragic event had led to its downfall. A gas leak had caused an explosion, and many students lost their lives. The area had witnessed several accidents over the years, all eerily around Halloween. Locals believed that the spirits of those who perished roamed the area, causing accidents to warn or perhaps exact revenge on the living. Our story made headlines, reigniting interest in the haunted history of Pacific Heights University. For Nicole and me, that Halloween night became a haunting memory, forever casting a shadow on our adventurous spirits. Now, as I drive through the suburbs of San Francisco, especially around Pacific Heights, I can't help but shudder. That night in 2004 was a stark reminder that some places, no matter how alluring, are best left undisturbed. Story number 5. Whispers of Coral Gables. 2005, a suburb of Miami. I can still recall the humidity of that night, the way the air clung to our skin as my friends, Sophia and Rosa, and I left the party. We walked along the road, our laughter echoing in the quiet Miami suburb. Our joviality was short-lived, however. A creature darted out, eyes reflecting the pale moonlight, causing us to scream and sprint into the dense woods. Lost, frightened, and with the weight of the night pressing down on us, we spotted a decaying structure in the distance, the old Coral Gables University, long since abandoned and now shrouded in mystery. Knowing we wouldn't find our way back in the dark, we hesitantly chose to take shelter within its walls. No sooner had we settled down than the atmosphere changed. The weight of years of stories, rumors, and urban legends began to manifest. Whispers in the wind, footfalls in empty corridors, and apparitions in the corners of our eyes had us clinging to one another. They seemed to be warning us, reminding us that on Halloween, the boundaries between realms blur. Sleep was but a distant hope. Each time our eyelids grew heavy, a new phantom sound or sight would jolt us awake. When dawn's first light crept into the building, we fled, our hearts still racing from the night's horrors. But our story didn't remain ours for long. After our harrowing experience became common knowledge, Mark, an investigative journalist, teamed up with Dr. Lucia Fernandez, a renowned parapsychologist, to delve deeper into the mysteries of Coral Gables University. Their findings painted a grim picture. Years prior, a tragic accident on the university grounds claimed numerous lives. It was believed that those souls, trapped in perpetual anguish, caused multiple unexplained accidents around the area, especially during Halloween. Our experience and their research made the headlines, offering a cautionary tale about the restless spirits of Coral Gables. Now, years later, when I find myself driving near the suburb, an involuntary shiver runs down my spine. The events of that night in 2005, when we inadvertently crossed paths with the spectral residents of Coral Gables University, forever haunt my memories. Story number 6. Echoes from Orlando's Abyss. 2006, the suburbs of Orlando. I still sometimes wake in a cold sweat, haunted by the memories of that night. The laughter of my friends, Emily, Ava, and Tara, still echoes in my ears. We had just left a party, our spirits high, taking the less traveled path to enjoy the serenity of the woods. Our light-hearted chatter was abruptly interrupted by a sudden rustling. A creature, wild-eyed and fast, dashed out, causing panic. In our fear, we fled blindly, our path taking us deeper into the woods and further away from the safety of the suburban lights. When our breathless run finally ended, we found ourselves facing the long-abandoned structure of Orange Blossom University. We had all heard the whispers and hushed tales surrounding it, but with darkness encroaching, it seemed our only refuge. No sooner had we settled than the true nature of our refuge became apparent. Disembodied voices echoed in the wind, shadows moved just beyond our line of sight, and the chilling presence of the unknown weighed heavily upon us. The ghosts of Halloween past seemed all too real, their mournful cries a stark reminder of the boundary between life and the afterlife. As dawn's first light painted the horizon, we made our escape, our minds scarred by the memories of the previous night. Our harrowing tale drew the attention of Jason, a seasoned journalist with a penchant for the supernatural, and Dr. Miriam Hayes, an anthropologist intrigued by urban legends. Their investigation unraveled the mysteries of Orange Blossom University. Decades ago, a tragic event had claimed numerous lives. Ever since, on certain nights, the lost souls seemed to roam, leading to numerous accidents and eerie occurrences. Our tale, coupled with their findings, brought the haunted legacy of Orange Blossom University into the limelight. The town was abuzz with whispers, warnings, and fearful glances. Today, when I pass the outskirts of Orlando, the chilling memories of that night in 2006 claw at me. A constant reminder of the night we faced the lingering echoes of the past. Story number 7. Deserted Echoes, Las Vegas Tales. 2007, Las Vegas Suburbs. Even now, years later, the stark contrast of that night's events against the glitzy backdrop of Las Vegas is surreal. My friend, Maria, and I had ventured beyond the Strip, wanting to experience a side of Vegas few tourists saw. We ended the evening at an offbeat party in the suburbs, where tales of haunted spots in the desert dominated the night's chatter. Walking back, our laughter was cut short by the sudden appearance of a shadowy figure, which on closer look was a wild animal, its eyes reflecting the scant moonlight. Panic took over, and we found ourselves running into the depths of the desert woods. When we finally halted, before us stood the dilapidated remnants of the Mojave Desert University. We'd heard about it at the party, an old institution that had met a tragic end. Seeking shelter, we ventured inside, despite the uneasy feeling that gripped us. The eeriness intensified as night progressed. Shadows danced in ways that defied logic. Whispers echoed through hallways that should have been silent. Apparitions made their presence known, emphasizing the fact that it was, indeed, Halloween. Neither Maria nor I slept. Every creak and moan of the building, every fleeting shadow, kept us alert, our hearts racing. By morning, we hastily made our exit, relief washing over us as we left the boundaries of the old university. But the desert wasn't done with us yet. Word of our nighttime ordeal reached Leo, a journalist with an affinity for the supernatural, and Dr. Claire Robinson, an archaeologist who had studied the university ruins. Intrigued, they dove deep into its history. Their investigation brought a heart-wrenching tale to light. The university, once a beacon of hope in the desert, had been the site of a catastrophic accident, leading to countless deaths. Many believed the spirits of those unfortunate souls were still tethered to the location, especially after numerous reports of accidents and sightings in the vicinity. Our story, combined with their discoveries, became a sensation. The Mojave Desert University and its tragic history became the subject of hushed discussions throughout Vegas. To this day, when I find myself amidst the bright lights and bustling streets, a chill runs down my spine as I recall that night in 2007, when the past's ghosts reached out from the darkness of the desert. Story number 8. Whispers of Oahu's Forgotten. 2008, a suburb of Honolulu. Hawaii's tropical paradise has always held a mysterious allure, but nothing prepared me for the events that unfolded that fateful night. The island's tales of ancient spirits had always intrigued my friends, Leilani, Malia, and me. After an evening of celebration at a local party, we decided to explore a trail that led through the dense woods of Oahu's suburbs. As we journeyed, the soft murmurs of the forest were interrupted by the swift movement of a creature. Startled, we dashed deeper into the woods. Wounds from the thorny underbrush and sharp rocks marked our hasty retreat. Emerging from the foliage, the sight of an old, ivy-covered structure greeted us, the forgotten Kahuna University. With nightfall upon us and the dense woods surrounding, we decided to seek refuge within its dilapidated walls. As darkness took hold, so did an oppressive air of unease. Soft wails echoed through the corridors. Shadows, which held no form, floated past our peripheral vision. Ancestral spirits of Hawaii, awakened on Halloween, roamed the woods, their presence palpable and haunting. Sleep evaded us. Every rustling leaf, every distant lament kept us wide awake, our hearts thudding against our ribs. Morning couldn't come fast enough. As the first rays of dawn streaked the sky, we fled the confines of Kahuna University, desperate to escape its chilling embrace. Our harrowing experience piqued the interest of Kikoa, a journalist known for his interest in the supernatural, and Dr. Moana, an anthropologist who had spent years studying Hawaii's forgotten histories. They dove into the lore surrounding the old university. Their research revealed a tragic past. Decades ago, a calamity had struck, leading to a devastating loss of life. The spirits of those who perished were believed to still roam, especially on nights when the veil between worlds was at its thinnest. Our ordeal, combined with their findings, sent ripples through the community. Kahuna University's haunting past became a subject of whispered conversations. To this day, whenever I find myself near the woods of Oahu, a cold shiver travels down my spine. The events of that Halloween night in 2008 serve as a haunting reminder of the island's ancient spirits and their unresolved tales. Story number 9. Ghosts of Georgetown, the Capitol's Secrets. 2009, suburban Washington, D.C. The evening began with echoes of laughter. Sarah, Olivia, Emily, and I had just wrapped up a Halloween party in Georgetown and decided to take a detour through the scenic roads on our way home. The suburban streets of D.C. were bathed in the soft glow of streetlights, creating a mesmerizing, yet eerie, atmosphere. However, our laughter was silenced when a dark, rapid figure, a wild animal, darted out in front of us. Panic-stricken, we ran deeper into the woods, thorny branches scratching our skin, sharp rocks biting into our feet. Gasping for breath, we soon found ourselves in front of the decaying structure of what was once a prominent university. The weight of countless tales and legends hung in the air, but the impending night and our exhaustion left us with little choice. We decided to camp within its walls. The atmosphere inside was thick with anticipation. As the night deepened, we began to feel we weren't alone. Whispers traveled through the empty halls, shadows played tricks on our terrified minds, and the spirits of the past roamed freely, seemingly provoked by Halloween's magic. Sleep remained elusive. Every gust of wind, every distant groan intensified our fears, reminding us of the boundary between the living and the dead. As dawn broke, we fled, leaving behind the haunted ruins and the memories of that chilling night. But the story didn't end there. Word of our experience reached Rachel, a determined journalist with a passion for unearthing untold stories, and Dr. Thomas, a historian with a deep interest in DC's mysterious past. They delved into the history of the old university and soon discovered a tragic tale. A catastrophic accident decades ago had claimed numerous lives. The restless spirits of the victims, they believed, continued to linger, causing accidents and sightings around the area. Our experience, combined with their investigative insights, made headlines across the district. The haunted history of the old university became a focal point for ghost enthusiasts and skeptics alike. To this day, as I drive through the winding roads of suburban DC, the memories of that night in 2009 haunt me. A stark reminder that some secrets of the past refuse to be buried. Story number 10. Midnight Memories, Chicago's Haunting Legacy. 2010, Chicago suburbs. It's a night that remains seared in my memory. The windy city had welcomed me and my friend, Jenna, with its characteristic energy. We'd spent the evening dancing and celebrating at a local party, feeling alive amidst the vibrant Chicago backdrop. As we decided to take a detour through a wooded suburb, our light-hearted chatter was jarringly interrupted by a wild creature's sudden appearance. In our panic, we ran aimlessly, getting deeper into the forest, until the looming silhouette of an old, Gothic-style university building appeared. Deciding to take shelter within, we tried to calm our frayed nerves, treating our minor injuries with the first aid kit we always carried during our travels. But the night had more surprises in store. The woods around the building came alive with haunting apparitions and eerie whispers. Ghostly figures floated in and out of view, their moans a stark reminder of the sinister nature of Halloween night. Sleep eluded us. Every fleeting shadow, every whispered lament kept us wide-eyed, our hearts racing in our chests. When the first light of dawn finally broke, we gathered our belongings and made a hasty exit, eager to leave the harrowing memories of that night behind. Our tale caught the attention of Alex, a seasoned investigative journalist, and Dr. Lydia Harmon, an expert in urban legends and Chicago's mysterious past. Their research unveiled a horrific accident that had occurred at the university many decades ago, resulting in numerous casualties. The restless spirits of the victims were said to haunt the surrounding area, leading to numerous unexplained incidents over the years. Our story, when combined with their detailed investigation, captured the city's imagination, becoming the talk of the town. Today, every time I pass the outskirts of Chicago, the memories of that night in 2010 come flooding back, a chilling testament to the city's ghostly inhabitants and the secrets they guard. Story number 11. Ghosts of the Colonial Past, Boston's Unsettled Spirits. 2011, suburban Boston. The vivid memories of that night in Boston's historic suburbs still haunt my dreams. Sophia, Lucy, and I had just left an exhilarating Halloween party, the festive spirit of the evening accompanying us. Our laughter and light-hearted banter echoed as we strolled along, the history of Boston evident in the very air we breathed. But our joviality was abruptly cut short when a wild animal dashed before us. Frightened, we veered off the path, plunging into the dense woods. The jagged branches and uneven terrain left us with scratches and bruises. Stumbling through the thick foliage, we eventually found ourselves facing the ivy-clad remnants of an old university, its stone walls radiating an eerie calm. With no other refuge in sight, we decided to brave the night inside. But as the night deepened, so did the atmosphere of unease. Muted whispers, as if carried by the wind from ages past, resonated in our ears. Spectral figures, possibly remnants of Boston's colonial past, moved in the periphery of our vision, their presence amplified by the ghostly essence of Halloween. Rest was impossible. Every sound, every fleeting glimpse of a spectral figure, kept our senses on high alert. Daybreak couldn't come sooner. With the first rays of sunlight, we made our escape, leaving behind the mysteries of the old university. Our tale soon reached the ears of Samuel, a journalist with a keen interest in the paranormal, and Dr. Eleanor Martin, a historian specializing in Boston's early colonial days. They delved deep, uncovering a tragic incident from centuries ago tied to the very grounds of the university. A devastating fire had led to numerous casualties, and locals whispered tales of restless souls still wandering the vicinity. Our personal encounter, combined with their thorough investigations, was soon covered by various news outlets, captivating Boston's residents with a blend of historical truths and ghostly speculations. Even today, when I wander through Boston's suburbs, a chill runs down my spine as memories from 2011 resurface, a testament to the city's layered history and the spirits that linger within its confines. Story number 12. Lost Shadows, The Philadelphia Chronicles. 2012, Suburbia, Philadelphia. The memories of that night are as vivid today as they were back then. A typical high school celebration had brought Amy, Haley, Lisa, and myself together. Laughing and sharing stories, we strolled through the tree-lined streets of Philadelphia's suburbs. Our joyous atmosphere was shattered when an indistinguishable wild creature darted across our path. Fear propelled us into the dense woods, where branches snagged our clothes and sharp rocks bruised our skin. Emerging from the trees, we found ourselves before the imposing gates of an abandoned university, its Gothic architecture casting elongated shadows. Given the circumstances, we decided to take shelter there for the night. Yet, as darkness enveloped the building, the haunting past of Philadelphia seemed to come alive. Spectral apparitions floated in and out of our vision, their melancholic cries echoing through the night, reminding us of the chilling significance of Halloween. No rest came that night. The relentless haunting ensured we remained awake, every sound heightening our already frayed nerves. Daybreak seemed a blessing. As the sun's rays pierced through the morning mist, we left, eager to put the night's terrors behind us. Our experience drew the attention of Jacob, a journalist with a penchant for mysteries, and Dr. Elise Whitman, an expert in Pennsylvania's historical archives. They delved into the university's past, unraveling a tale of a tragic accident from the early 1900s that had resulted in numerous deaths. These spirits, they believed, were trapped, their souls unable to find peace. Our account, combined with their research, made headline news, bringing to light the haunted history of the old university and the spirits that continued to dwell within its walls. Now, when I drive through Philadelphia's suburbs, I am reminded of that fateful night in 2012, a night that unveiled the city's ghostly tales and forever changed our lives. Story number 13. Whispers from the Past, The Dallas Enigma. 2013, Dallas suburbs. That night, the Texan skies were a canvas of brilliant stars, a perfect backdrop for the adventure we thought awaited us. My friend Naomi and I were on a road trip, our spirits high from a party we just left. But life has a way of turning joy into fear. As we ambled down the road, an animal, wild and frenzied, charged in front of us, causing us to veer off course and into the thick woods. Injured and disoriented, we stumbled upon a relic of the past, an old university building. With no other refuge in sight and darkness deepening, we decided to spend the night. Yet, the dead of night revealed the true nature of our shelter. Ghostly apparitions, ethereal yet vivid, appeared, casting chilling shadows across the building. Their mournful wails were a reminder of the significance of Halloween night and its supernatural ties. Sleep was an elusive dream. Every rustle, every distant cry seemed to be a ghost from the past, trying to communicate. As dawn painted the sky, we made our escape, the haunting memories of the night urging us on. Our tale attracted the attention of Robert, a renowned investigative journalist, and Dr. Michelle Crawford, a historian specializing in Texas's forgotten tales. Together, they unearthed the truth behind the university, a tragic accident in the late 1800s, a fire that claimed many lives. The restless spirits from that incident, they believed, were the very apparitions that haunted us that night. Our first-hand account, combined with their historical investigation, became the talk of Dallas, revealing a chapter of its history that had been lost in time. To this day, when I traverse the Dallas suburbs, the memories from that night in 2013 resurface, a testament to the city's hidden stories and the spirits that still linger in the shadows. Story number 14. Echoes of the Arid Night, the Phoenix Phenomenon. 2014, Suburban Phoenix. Desert nights are usually serene, a stark contrast to the blistering daytime heat. Yet, on that Halloween night, the tranquility was shattered. Emily, Clara, Rachel, and I were making our way back from a lively party, discussing our future plans and laughing at shared memories. But, as with all unexpected horror tales, our joyful strides were halted by a sudden movement. A creature, wild-eyed and swift, darted in front of us, causing panic. In our frightened state, we ventured deeper into the woods and found ourselves facing the remnants of an old university. Given the late hour and our disorientation, we decided it was best to take shelter there for the night. But what should have been a sanctuary soon turned into a haunting ground. As darkness settled, spectral figures emerged, their haunting whispers echoing through the dilapidated halls, each reminding us of the fateful significance of Halloween. The atmosphere was electric, each of us sensing the weight of countless untold stories. The night dragged on, every shadow seeming to hide a ghost, every sound a message from the beyond. Sleep was a distant dream. With the first rays of dawn, we gathered our belongings and left, eager to distance ourselves from the night's phantoms. Our experience drew the attention of journalist Alex, known for his investigative pieces on paranormal events, and Dr. Lydia Hayes, a historian specializing in Arizona's hidden past. Digging deep into the annals of history, they uncovered a tragic tale of a fire that consumed the university in the early 1900s, leading to numerous casualties. The souls of those who perished, they posited, had become restless spirits, still bound to the university and its surroundings. Our chilling encounter, intertwined with their research, became a sensation, revealing to Phoenix a forgotten chapter of its past. Even now, when I drive through the suburbs of Phoenix, I am haunted by memories from 2014, a night of eerie revelations and a stark reminder of the history lurking just beneath the surface. Story number 15. San Diego Specters, the Shadows That Linger. 2015, the suburbs of San Diego. The Californian coastline, usually a haven of sunshine and surf, took on a malevolent guise that Halloween night. Rebecca, Tara, Jane, Danielle, and I, high school buddies with plans for the future and stories from the past, were returning from a lively party. It began innocuously enough. A wild creature, perhaps a coyote or a startled deer, crossed our path. Startled, we veered off the familiar road and found ourselves ensnared by the gnarled woods. As we ventured further in, the silhouetted form of an old university building beckoned us. It promised shelter, it offered anything but. The night air grew cold, and the ominous silence of the woods was punctuated by the ethereal wails of unseen entities. Phantoms, their features barely discernible, emerged and retreated into the trees, a constant reminder of the otherworldly date we were unwittingly celebrating. Sleep was a precious commodity none of us could afford. Every whisper of the wind carried voices, every creak of the building's ancient floorboards suggested movement. With the safety of daylight, we left in haste, seeking the familiarity of home and eager to put distance between us and the night's haunting events. Our experience was not to remain private. Drawn to our tale were Michael, an investigative journalist with a penchant for the unexplained, and Dr. Fiona Gray, a historian versed in San Diego's rich past. Together, they unveiled a forgotten tragedy, a catastrophic fire at the university decades ago that resulted in many perishing. Our nocturnal encounter, combined with their diligent research, painted a vivid picture of restless souls, those who met their untimely end in the fire, still bound to the site of their demise. Today, when I traverse the suburbs of San Diego, the events of 2015 are never far from my mind, serving as a somber reminder of the history that lurks beneath our feet and the stories that time may forget, but the world does not.